Welcome to the third episode of For the Love of the Show. I am one of your hosts, Spurgeon, right there, the man who inspired this, the author of For the Love of the Show, the Mr. Your name just keeps getting longer, bro, every episode.
It's the same it was before.
Was it? Maybe I just don't pay attention.
I haven't changed it unless somebody else got on here and changed it.
You're right, I didn't. But hey, we do have a very, very special. We have some special guests tonight.
Yeah, we got a crowded show tonight.
It is a crowded show. It's a crowded little box that they're in too. But
yeah,
would you like to introduce who our special guests are?
Sure. This is a band that I'm actually going to be including in the next book, the For the Love of the Show sequel, and they are called the Foleys. They are, I guess you'd describe them as a punk style band named after legendary wrestler, WWE Hall of Famer, and a hell of a good guy, Mick Foley.
Well, and there's four of them joining us, and I'm glad that they are wherever they are because those masks scare the hell out of me. Gentlemen, thank you guys for joining us on For the Love of the Show.
Yeah. Our pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so as you guys see, the name is For the Love of the Show. The Good Doctor's book is the love letters that wrestling fans written about their stuff. So without giving it away for the next book, why is it that you guys decided to do this inspiration for the name of your band?
Well, we really wanted to have a theme, and we all loved professional wrestling when we started this thing about 3 years ago. So we just decided to do this. So it was between this and a Macho Man theme or a Ric Flair theme. So we went with the person that we admired the most, which was Mick.
Yeah, I think growing up for us, we all kind of grew up during that Attitude Era. Well, most of us. And, Mick Foley really brought kind of a change, right? There, he was that hardcore wrestler, from his Cactus Jack days and then kind of transitioning into Mankind, which in the beginning was a little more dimmed down. But later on in the Attitude Era, he got a little more hardcore. You started seeing the things that he did, like in the independent circuit, and then with the other circuits he ran with for a little bit. And kind of punk and, hardcore wrestling, I feel like kind of go hand in hand. They're both kind of like stick it to the man, do something out of the box. And, we thought it was just kind of a good combination to go together.
Sure.
You say punk, and because it kind of reminds you of sticking it to the man. So were you guys trained in punk rock music? Because I know it's not hard to play punk rock music.
I can't play punk rock music. I don't know what you're talking
hold
about.
on. I said that wrong. I apologize. It's not easy to play punk rock music because of the fast chord possessions and all of that stuff. So, what is your guys' musical background, and how did you guys settle on punk music? Or is that all you guys have ever done?
You want to go first?
Sure. So I'm kind of one of the OGs of the band, a little bit older than these cats behind me, and I hear someone coming down the stairs who's even older than I am. We actually started out, myself and the Baron, we actually started out in metal music. So we were in the late 80s, early 90s. Some of our first bands were like really aggressive metal bands. And then we ended up finding, as we were playing basement shows and stuff like that, guess what? There were no girls. Most girls didn't like metal. So it was just just one demographic that we were playing for. And so we kind of separated for a little bit, myself and the Baron, and then came back a couple years later and started playing punk rock because for one, we found out that because our earlier training in metal and the kind of metal that we played, it was almost like modern day classical music with lots of progressions, really fast progressions and things like that. that we found out we could play punk very well and very fast and melodic. And back then, that's when the whole West Coast pop punk scene was exploding with, bands like 88 Fingers Louie and Pennywise and NoFX and, bands like that. And so we kind of caught our groove there. And then before we knew it, a couple iterations of our band came and went. And then we ended up meeting Manny on the scene because we were in a band. And a lot of times we were sharing shows with his band as well. And then shows ebb and flow and bands ebb and flow and scenes ebb and flow. And lo and behold, we found ourselves kind of together and we started making music. So the rest is kind of history as it is. So
I just got into it because I got beat up a lot.
The guy. No, go ahead.
I got into it because I got beat up a lot, mostly by girls.
Mostly by girls. You got beat up mostly by girls.
Mostly by girls. Yep.
Now the guy in the yellow shirt back there with his arms crossed, that he's kind of intimidating. I mean, I'm a 48-year-old guy, go 250, and if I saw him standing in a dark alley, I'd probably turn around and walk the other way. Why are you so mean mugging on the camera there, guy?
I don't mean to be mean mugging. I'm the dude, and I love you.
Oh, yeah. Okay then. There you go. That's perfect. All right, so you guys...
that's right.
No, I'm giving you trouble.
So for me, I think I got into punk kind of early, but it's not the first style of music I played. I was more in like the indie rock scene, kind of a little more, I don't know, technical, different type of stuff. But, I was about 9 or 10 when I first heard of NoFX, kind of fell in love with it. Played in a couple pop punk bands. Then what happened for me is I ended up joining a ska band with Manny. And there was just a lot of tension in the band. So we decided to leave as a group, us and our original bass player. So we left. We got a hold of Professor over here, asked him if he wanted to do some vocals for us. Came up with this fun idea, and it's been a blast ever since. Barry actually has done a lot of motion picture soundtracks. No movies. You haven't seen any of the movies, but that's how he started. He's our composer. I'm joking. That's a lie.
Right on.
Yeah, okay. It's interesting that you guys say this because the one thing is the ska band stuff. I loved ska music back in the day. There was a band here in St. Louis called The Urge, and they still play the whole ska scene around the St. Louis area. So you guys go from all of this, and then so what makes it that you're like, other than not going to Sausage Fest and playing heavy metal music, that you decided to like, okay, punk rock is where we're going to go. Punk alternative type of music is where we're going to go. Like, how did that all come into fruition to where you guys decided that's the way you guys are going to go as a band?
So it seems that punk rock is one of the scenes that is kind of all inclusive, where there's no tribalism going on. There's very little, elitism going on. So no matter, race, gender, orientation, beliefs, when you go to a show and you're in the pit, you're having fun, or you're cheering for your favorite band, especially in towns, smaller towns, you have very close-knit scenes. They're like a family. And for a lot of disenfranchised youths and even disenfranchised adults, we kind of gravitated towards that, right? Because we wanted to feel a little bit accepted because we were tired of, being alone and just being a bunch of jobbers doing, the mundane grind. Instead, we wanted a home. We wanted a home. We wanted a family. We wanted to be part of a community, a positive community. And so, we just kind of jumped in to punk rock with both feet because, to tell you the truth, it welcomed us with open arms. So,
and our choices were pretty limited. It was either a punk band or like a Taylor Swift cover band,
which I voted for. But
I'd be down with that.
What? Hold on. A punk band or a Taylor Swift Who would be dressed as Taylor Swift? I have to know.
They could
Probably
do
all
the
of them.
different eras.
We'll fight over it.
No, we can all do it. No, so
They could. There's
our
plenty
childhood-
of Taylor Swift albums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
Because-
love that. I think that would be fantastic. I mean, you could probably score a lot of chicks that way too.
Can you imagine 5 dudes doing being a Taylor Swift cover band? You guys, that would probably be a huge thing. You could.
I don't
maybe
know if
even
the world's ready for that, but we're gonna keep it up and we're gonna catalog it away.
We're locking
Right.
it up.
So now I see that we have the Mankind mask, and I see that we have the Lucha mask. We have Yellow back there, who's not looking as intimidating anymore, which I wish he would, because he looks so much more intimidating than he's just standing there. There you go. Now I'm intimidated again. We have the guy named Dude. So like, you guys took all of the different Mick Foley type personas,
Yeah,
and it seemed to incorporate them in the band. I'm just trying to remember where Mick Foley wore the Lucha mask.
So the
That's
Lucha
the
mask,
one-
I'm actually my role besides being the front man for this band is I'm the referee. I usually wear a referee's outfit.
Okay.
I'm the one
Oh, okay.
who keeps all the personalities in check, make sure everything's above bar. I only want to see open hand strikes, no fish hooking. I make sure I keep the peace between all of these fragmented personas to make sure that we can be a cohesive whole and make it through a set and not go to jail.
All right, so you guys have so this is For the Love of the Show. I'm one of your hosts. Spurge, right there, the man who inspired the book, the one and the only, the author of
doctor.
The Love of the Show.
The Good Doctor.
And right below us is the Foleys. So guys, I want to play a song. So I'm on your Spotify, okay? I'm on your guys' Spotify, so I want to play this one song for you. And I want to just let is it okay if we play it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, just making sure. Now, Good Doctor,
Yo.
I can hear there's an influence in all of that stuff. Like you can kind of hear the ska influence, the alternative influence into it. I mean, like when I think punk, I think of like the Dead Kennedys and stuff like that. But you guys seem to be like a mix. You know, the Ramones, all that. You guys seem to be like a mix. Like when you guys write these songs, how long does it take you to come up with them? And how you guys want to do it and arrange it? Should we ask the composer back there, because he hasn't said anything, and he's a big scary guy too.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's the scariest one of them all.
Yeah.
Normally what we'll do is one of us will come up with, a lick or a riff, and we'll basically send it out to each other or upload it to our YouTube page, to where only we can see it. We'll listen to it. We'll get a little familiar with it. We'll come to practice. We'll kind of tighten it up. We'll rearrange it. So we kind of work together. So we all bring ideas, but none of us are married to our ideas. So you have tons of different influences of like styles of music. Like the Baron listens to just about everything, from bluegrass to metal, same for me. Same, for Professor Payne, and even the same for Manny back here, even Duder in the back. We all listen to, just different styles of music. But, for us, kind of keeping that punk influence is important. So we tend to kind of mix it, but we try at the forefront, kind of have that punk attitude, just because, it's what we enjoy. I think it's kind of what we all cut our teeth on at a young age, coming into the music scene. And then, being as we're older now, we all work, like Professor Payne was saying, we all work a 9 to 5. It's a way for us to blow off some steam. And what better way to do that than downstroking a whole bunch of power chords over and over and over and over again. And, writing catchy hooks for choruses. Professor Payne, he's a lyrical genius. So it's just, real easy for us to write songs together. It doesn't take a ton of time.
And he's an actual professor in English. So, I mean, that makes it, we have like literally an actual professor writing the songs lyrically for us, which is really cool.
Hold on.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and I ended up a lot of my lyrics come from my childhood. I came from a professional wrestling family. Both my dad and my uncle were both professional wrestlers in the AWA and the NWA. So I grew up around professional wrestling at a very early age, up until I was a teenager and moved to another town. So when in doubt, I kind of dig into my past, and then out comes this deluge of catchy professional wrestling inspired lyrics. So yeah,
I think one of my favorite songs would be The Animal. So if you're listening to this, go to our Spotify app, or Apple Music or Amazon Music and check us out. But The Animal is about George the Animal Steele. And it's one of my favorite songs to play. It's fast paced. It's really punky. But I mean, just the lyrics themselves, they kind of, embody that wrestling attitude. So it's, it's been a lot of fun over the last 3 years doing this and, getting to build this, especially with these guys.
absolutely.
Right on.
We're talking this one.
Now,
Go to their Spotify page so you can hear it.
yeah, go to
Listen to
Spotify.
the whole song. I'm not going to give it all to you.
Do you guys have, a favorite Mick Foley match that you guys always think about or refer back to?
All right, but hold on. One thing. It can't be the Hell in the Cell match with The Undertaker. It has to be a completely different one.
So mine is the Mick Foley Rock match.
The
yeah.
I Quit match?
I
Where he
Quit
gets
match.
beaten in the head.
So that was that was one of the, I remember watching that pay-per-view, as a teenager and just being like, holy crap. This dude has taken so many bumps, and you could tell The Rock was just giving it to him. I mean, and then I also really enjoy anything that's the Rock and Sock connection too, because I was a huge Rock fan when I was a kid. I don't know. I was just a massive Rock fan. And, but, just that match really will forever stick out, in my mind as one of the greatest matches of all time. That or, anything he did with Terry Funk, which is stuff that, I kind of watched later on because, growing up, that stuff wasn't really available to us. We didn't have the internet where I could go on and watch a match that they had over in Japan. So it was just, it was, just Mick Foley was kind of that guy for me too. It was kind of my Mount Rushmore of the Attitude Era would have to be, you would have to have The Rock and Mick Foley on it. And, I'm also a big Al Snow guy, so I'll probably throw him on there too.
It was definitely the Terry Funk matches in Japan. Those are some of the most brutal, violent works of art.
Yeah, I think for me, once again, I love the I Quit matches. It was, to see the amount of damage that can happen. I mean, yes, Hell in a Cell is, when anyone thinks of, brutal matches, they think of that one. But I think that, I can remember watching it. I was at an ex-girlfriend's house watching it and just being dumbfounded at the amount of shots that were being taken and just watching it all unfold and being like, when you look at Mick Foley, he wasn't this chiseled Adonis. He wasn't this guy who's all swollen with D-bol and all other kinds of steroids. What he didn't have in physical physique, he made up for in just toughness and heart, and just you could see that in every match that he ever was in. He gave 120%, and even if the match wasn't really selling itself, he made sure to sell it. He went the extra mile to sell it. And I think that's something that, looking back at all of his matches, because let's admit, some of the matches were better than others. Some of them were kind of a little bit on the stinker side because of, either how they were matched up or how it was written or something like that. But he always was there to sell it. He was always there giving 120% just to make sure that the crowd was satisfied. And I think that, that's why he will go down as one of the best sports entertainers and wrestlers probably in wrestling history.
He had a love for wrestling too. I mean, it wasn't just like some of these guys where, you went in, you played football, you couldn't make it in football, and now I guess I'm going to go be a professional wrestler. For him, it was he loved wrestling, basically like we do. And I think it was important for him to really, carve his own stone, right, on that Mount Rushmore. And that's why I think, he put his body on the line as much as he possibly could. And I think that's just one reason why, all of us really, respect him as a wrestler, respect him as an entertainer. And he's also one hell of a person. You hear about some of the stuff he does and how he treats people. Come on, you couldn't ask for a better role model. The dude's great. So, it's one main reason why we are the Foleys. We're paying homage to, one of the greatest.
Sure. I personally like the match he had with Edge. To me, that's one of his, I know it's one of his final matches as well in WWE, but I think that did a lot for Edge, legitimizing Edge in my eyes, because I was never a big Edge singles fan at all until that match, and I kind of had a new respect for Edge after that.
I think mine with Foley, if you guys remember, was the Super Bowl show they put on, the empty seat stadium match between The Rock and Mick Foley, where it was just the two of them in an empty stadium or an arena match, and they wrestled throughout the entire arena. And then, if I'm not mistaken, Mick Foley pinned The Rock with the forklift.
Yes.
To win the match. That might be one of my favorite Mick Foley matches. So we are here with the Foleys for the love of the show. I'm your host, Spurge, one of the hosts, Spurge, and right next to me is the guy, the inspiration for this, the author of For Love of the Show, the one and only
Good Doctor.
You can find the Foleys on their Apple Music, Spotify, all that. Just put in the Foleys. You can find all of their stuff. Guys, I have a question. So, wrestling. You guys are dead. You guys have made your band about Mick Foley. But when did the wrestling bug bite you guys as a whole? For each one of you, when did it bite you as you were growing up and then you became wrestling fans?
For me, it was 1987 at the Joyce Center at the University of Notre Dame. First match I ever went to was a house show. And my dad took me to every one that was at the Joyce Center after that. And then we spent a lot of Saturday mornings watching it together. And he's no longer with us, but that was my inspiration, and that's one of the reasons why I do this as well, just because he got it. He got me into it, and it's been a love affair ever since.
For me, it would have been the early 90s, kind of the Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart era, Doink the Clown, those types of things. I think I got a video game for the Sega, and it was a wrestling game, and I was like, okay, this looks really cool. And I had a buddy who, him and his mom would watch it, Saturday on Saturdays, Sundays, whenever it was on, they were watching it. It didn't matter what promotion it was. If it was coming on up here, they were watching it. And I spent a lot of time at their house and really started watching, just really paying attention to wrestling, got really big into it. Started buying a ton of action figures I wish I would have kept. So it would have been the early 90s for me. Dude?
He got into it yesterday.
Yeah.
Is that really your answer?
No.
He just looks so stoic. See, look, he looks so stoic standing back there like this. Like, see, nobody should mess with you because the dude, he just stands back there. Even though we know he loves everybody, he's just so stoic and posed. You guys shouldn't
He's
even
tougher than what
worry.
he looks, too. He's tougher than what he looks. He gave me some business on stage in Cleveland on Saturday.
I helped you, though. I got him with the cord.
Yeah, I did have to have some help. Answer the question.
That's pretty up there.
Hey, no rules.
No rules. I just remember being 7 or 8 years old and just every Friday night watching wrestling, staying up as late as I could. I remember getting my first SmackDown game, and I think I played that till it started skipping or disintegrated.
He's the baby of the group,
I
so
am.
What about you, Baron?
Mine started the 1980s. I come about a decade earlier than these guys. It's Roddy Piper, Hulk Hogan, George the Animal Steel, Iron Sheik, all them guys. That's when I started watching it.
Yeah, and for me, it was the late 70s. I was born in 74. And like I said, I was my dad and my uncle were into it. I mean, they set up and tore down wrestling rings here in Elkhart, Indiana, went all the way to Erie, Pennsylvania. We had tons of wrestlers from the 70s and 80s stay at our houses, warm up, things like that. So I was indoctrinated into it at an early age, and then I got to watch it on TV in the early and mid 80s, watching the NWA and the WWF, and it just kind of took off from there for me. So
Right on. So I learned something new tonight, Spurge.
Okay.
I had no idea, and I'm a huge Notre Dame fan. I love the Fighting Irish. That's my team. I had no idea that the Joyce Center used to have wrestling there. I had no clue.
I did it like 87 and 91.
it was later than that because I went to,
They had one in 98 or 99.
yeah, because you had Stone Cold and The Rock there, and there it was, they had, they're all dark matches. But
Yeah, that was the In Your House tours.
Yeah, that was, I went to that one. So
are you guys in Elkhart? Is that where you're at?
No, we're in South Bend.
You're in South Bend. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
great. Now this interview's going a totally different way now. Jesus.
So I
not
I
a
gotta
Notre
ask.
Dame.
Yes.
Notre Dame fan.
All right, Notre Dame. Hey, as long as you're not Ohio State or Michigan, it's okay.
We got a lot of those bums in our area that really like that crap, but we don't respect them.
Yeah, I don't either. But I was in Notre Dame several years ago, and we stayed at a small town on the outskirts. And I everyone I tell this to doesn't believe me, but there was a high school there, and their mascot was the Grim Reaper, and it carried around an actual sickle with them, because we went to this little bar on a Friday night just to get some food, and in walks this kid in an all-out Grim Reaper outfit. I can't remember the name of the high school, but the waitress even said, she's like, yeah, our mascot is the Grim Reaper. And you guys ever heard of that?
No.
I wonder what high school.
No?
Yeah,
Do you remember what town you were in?
Man, I don't.
Maybe
I'm gonna have to text. I'm gonna have to
It-
text the buddy. It was probably about a half hour to 45 minutes outside of South Bend, if I can remember correctly. I'm gonna text the buddy and see if he can remember. But we've been to is Mishawaka? Is that one of them? A town around there?
Yep.
We go to a little pizza place out there. We know a guy that owns it, and actually down the street is where Gail Sayers lived, and Gail Sayers would come hang out before he passed away. Such a nice dude.
Is that Bruno's?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We knew his son, and we'd go there. They're big St. Louis Cardinal fans. That's how we got hooked up with them. A buddy of mine ran into them at Busch Stadium, and I guess the dad who owns it told us, he was a big Cardinal fan. So we would go there, and he'd take care of us, beer and pizza, all we wanted, and we'd bring him Cardinal memorabilia. So it was a pretty fair trade-off, I guess.
Now, I know you guys are giving us, I know you guys are getting ready to practice. I know you were generating us to give us some time, and I know we're getting up to that moment. So I just got like a couple more questions. Now, what has been, since you guys have started this, okay? What has been your favorite show that you guys have played since you started this?
For me, we played a wrestling gig where we had to play before the match. We played, about halfway through the match, and then we played at the end of the match. And you would think, well, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. You get to watch all these matches. It was a train wreck. Like, it was an absolute train wreck. The ring fell apart.
Yep.
The turnbuckles all sprang and fell to the ground, and they ended up just wrestling on the ground, and it was absolute pandemonium. But it was an awesome time, and just being able to watch this train wreck and be part of it, it's got a special place in the Soul Ticker.
For me, it'd be this place in Newcastle,
Riot Room.
The Riot Room.
Yeah.
The crowd was just awesome. It was a really good vibe. I think it was mostly a punk show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always nice when we get to play with other punk bands and not a whole bunch of metal bands. Nothing against metal bands, but typically when we play with metal bands, it's like you'll have a crowd for a little bit. Once the metal bands are done, most of those guys kind of hustle out.
They don't like us.
But
I think my favorite show was the WrestleMania 8 show at the Melody Inn for Punk Rock Night.
yeah, that was a good one.
They had a whole show themed for WrestleMania last year, and we were competing for their championship belt. Of course, it was rigged. We lost.
We did.
The crowd there was amazing. I mean, they had signs and people were going through tables.
Yeah.
It was a blast. That was one of my favorite shows, if not my most favorite.
What about you, dude?
Well, I'm the newest member, so I've only been playing with the Foleys since the beginning of the year. I'd go with Indiana Tap, and we played some with some other local punk bands. It was just nice to get out there and just have some fun with some local guys. It was a great time. Yeah.
What about you, Baron?
Good experience I had was just this Saturday playing at the Maple
Cleveland.
Grove,
Cleveland.
Ohio.
Another good one was the show in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh,
For
yeah.
WrestleMania weekend this
WrestleMania
weekend.
show.
We turned an entire female lacrosse team,
Rugby team.
an entire female rugby team into punk fans in less than 20 minutes. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
All right, now, the big question. Has the big guy, the hardcore legend, seen you guys ever play yet?
No, but he will on September 27th at Bonus Pints in Logansport, Indiana. He's doing a signing and I think a stand-up gig, and we've been asked to close out the show after he's done.
Nice.
Wait, when is that again?
September 27th.
Hey, good doctor. I think we might. Where's that at again?
It's a bar called Bonus Pints in Logansport, Indiana.
Come
How
on
far is
down.
that from South Bend?
It's about an hour and a half.
South towards
If the Irish are in town that weekend, man, I'm saying we go to the Irish game, then we hit their show up after.
That's on a
All right,
Friday
just say
night.
we
So
were-
you can hit that up first and then go to the game the next day.
Yes.
I say we hit them up and then we come back because I'm not going to a Notre Dame game.
Oh, come on.
Missing out.
You really are missing out. It's a great time, especially in the parking lot before the game.
That is true.
Yes.
That is-
Yes.
All right, fine, whatever.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you guys for joining us. I know you guys got to practice. I know, we had 30, between 30 and 40 minutes. We're getting right at that time. And I know that you guys' time is precious because you say, you got the 9 to 5s. Tell everybody where they can find you, all of that good stuff. like your websites, all of that stuff. Tell everybody where they can find you guys.
You can find us on Facebook, Spotify. We also have Instagram. We have a local club called the Michiana Education and Art Center, which Professor Payne is the big guy in charge there. And you can also find some of our merchandise at wreckedhooliganshop.com. We have our album, a bunch of T-shirts and different stuff there as well.
Right
Good
on.
Doctor. They have a killer fanny pack that looks like a title belt. That's theirs, and I want to get it.
Yes.
I want to get it, and I want to walk around as a champ.
Come on down in September.
Yeah, if you actually make it up for the mix show, we have an actual championship belt that we walk around with at the shows, and I think we're gonna actually give that to Mick if we get the opportunity.
Nice. Yeah. I hope he gets to see you guys. I know he stopped in St. Louis here a few months ago for a punk show at a small venue, and nobody knew who he was except there were a couple guys in the crowd who were wrestling fans, so they snapped some photos of him. But so yeah, it's pretty cool that he goes around to different cities just to check out, concerts when he can. So I hope you get to meet him. He's a great guy. The kindest, honestly, the kindest wrestler I've ever had a chance to work with. And I can't say enough about him. He really is just a kind guy. And he will listen to stories from fans forever. And I think he would be flattered. And I found out the name of the town. It is called LaPorte.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
The LaPorte Slicers.
The Slicers, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember playing those guys in high school. They definitely had Grim Reaper on the sidelines.
Right on, guys.
Guys, thank you for joining us on this episode of For the Love of This Show. I am one of your hosts, Spurge. Right next to me is the guy who inspired this, the author of the book For the Love of the Show.
The Good Doctor.
And right below us is the Foleys. Go check them out. Go to all of their social media stuff, Facebook, everything, and you just put in the Foleys. And you know what? I think I want to do this one. Can we leave out with a song, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely.
I've never been a Bret Hart fan. I think he's a big whiny crybaby. So
Me too.
I want to leave out with this song.
I don't hear anything, dude.
Yeah, we don't hear anything.
I got it playing. I messed up on my audio. My bad. I'm an idiot. Yeah, this is For the Love of the Show.
Try it one more time.
Oh, one more time. It's playing in my earphones here. I can do this real quick. So give me 2 seconds. I can cut this out. It is what it is. Right? But this is a great song. I've been listening to it this whole time while I've been talking to you guys. While we've been talking. Nothing like the good Montreal screw job right here from the Love of the Show. As always, we will see you guys next week.